Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Business and Buzz segment, we have returning contributor Kyle Wool, president at Revere Securities, and he is joined by his good friend Clint Larue. And today we are chatting about the amazing nonprofit organization that Clint heads, Heroes and Horses, a program that is changing the narrative for veterans. Now, Clint is formerly an active duty Navy SEAL from 2001 to 2016, and he's currently the recipient of several prestigious medals, including 6 Bronze Star medals with Valor Device, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, Joint Service Commendation Medal, Joint Service Achievement Medal, and Combat Action Ribbon. That's a lot of accolades. Now, Clint continues to service his country through Anchor Risk Group, a veteran-owned company that assists active duty military and law enforcement in honing their tactical skills. Now, the Department of Veteran Affairs released an alarming report on showing that at least 60,000 veterans died by suicide between 2008 and 2017, with little sign that the crisis is abating, despite suicide prevention being the VA's top priority. Now, Clint's mission, as described on their website, heroesandhorses.org, is to unprogram the programmed, to offer combat veterans an alternative solution for defining and approaching their physical and mental scars, a solution that doesn't include prescription medication or traditional psychotherapy, but rather the opportunity to use tools to redefine their purpose, rediscover their inner strength, and maximize their potential by taking ownership of their lives for the very first time since leaving combat. Welcome to the show, my beautiful friends. Welcome, Kyle, and welcome, Clint.
Thank you. Thank you.
Clint, what an honor to have you on. Thank you for coming.
No, thank you for having me and having us. This was great.
All right, Clint, the Heroes and Horses program inspires veterans to move beyond the difficulties experienced from years of war towards a life of restoration and hope, putting victimhood away and closing the doors on the past. This will be the hardest war you will ever fight, is what you say on your website. It's the war against yourself, but we've got your back. Talk to me about this statement, and from your point of view, what are some of the more serious effects of combat?
The most serious effects of combat are, the fact that it does change you, and experiences change all of us throughout our lives. However, I think the severity of combat, it changes you so quickly. You can sign up as an 18-year-old and they shave your hair and take your identity away, and they create what they want, right? And you could leave 6 months later and find yourself in combat, and you come home 18 months later and you are a completely different person than when you left. And that's hard to understand, and that's hard to accept, right? And so what we're trying to do at Heroes and Horses is just helping them understand that those experiences, those scars are what, what I don't want to say defines you, but you just need to understand that change occurred. And you also need to understand that, just because you went over one mountain and you came down, there's always going to be another mountain, whether that's in combat or business. So we're just trying to help them understand that what they need is not in the VA, it's not in medication, it's inside, and they already have it. And we're just kind of helping bring that to surface and help them accept the change.
Well, you're doing a great job. God bless you. I know that as of 2019, there was some crazy statistics. We have about 12 million veterans over the age of 65, which is about 61% of all veterans. So now you're dealing with a demographic of older people, and it's kind of hard to teach, an old dog new tricks, so to speak. But kudos to you. I take my hat off for what you're doing. Kyle, why were you and Revere Security so eager to jump on board and support this program?
Well, I think if you look at Wall Street, one of the good things that Wall Street's really done over the last probably 20 years, since the beginning of the Middle Eastern wars, is really support causes like Wounded Warriors and tunnels to towers and et cetera, especially with us really being involved in 9/11 and most of us living through that. And getting to know Clint on a personal basis, just hearing his stories and his other members of the SEALs and what they've gone through. But then to talk about, because I grew up on a farm in upstate New York, to talk about getting the guys off of opioids, getting them off of these dependent drugs or psychotherapy and getting them back on the farm to really find themselves again and almost a holistic natural healing. I just thought that was such a great story. And myself and a few of the companies that I'm involved in, we've been donating. And I think this is something that really has a meaningful story to it of getting people back on the right path.
I just got chills. I love these feel good stories. And I love that how at Revere Securities, you're always thinking about giving back, and it's nonprofits are at the forefront of your brain every time I speak to you. So good job, Kyle. Statistically, now we have 70% of veterans experiencing homelessness. The ones that do experience homelessness also experience substance abuse, and 50% live with mental illnesses like post-traumatic stress disorder. So what Clint is offering is priceless. Clint, currently there's over 65,000 veteran-related nonprofits in the United States, and billions are spent each year on programming meant to assist in reintegrating veterans back into civilian life. Who is eligible for your program, and what can they expect when arriving?
We tend to, it's typically a combat veteran. We can't necessarily take on say your amputees and some of the physical, wounded, because of our program is very intense. It's 41 days, and they walk a mile to chow every morning and back to their tent every evening. They'll ride over 400 miles horseback. It's a very intense program. When they arrive, there's going to be no cell phones. There's going to be, it's very holistic eating. It's a whole 30 foods diet. It's very life changing. We've had, I think our record was 13 psychiatric medications and 40 pounds lost in 41 days.
Wow.
So, and we cannot, we cannot ask them or tell them to come off of their medication. Everything that they do there, we don't really tell anyone what to do. We have a schedule, and they figure it out themselves. They find their own way. So, most of the time they'll go through a program, and they're told what to do, and they're talked to, and they're told how to fix their problems. We don't do that. We just encourage them to look within and fix it and find their own internal strength. So that's the difference. I mean, I appreciate the opportunity for veterans to go to the Super Bowl or go to, whatever great event, but that's not changing their lives, right? We don't want to create perpetual veterans. Being a veteran is not a verb. It's something you are that changed you. It could define you. That's okay, but it's time to move on.
I love it. You're doing God's work, my friend. Good job. Kyle, one of the biggest challenges that veterans programs grapple with every day is helping homeless and vulnerable veterans find and keep good jobs. There are many challenges that veterans face, obviously, but when they leave the military, unemployment is major. Many veterans struggle to find work when they return home. As president at Revere Securities, what advice do you have for veterans out there listening right now who are struggling with their money management and savings?
I think a lot of the veterans should really go out to the Wall Street community. And I think if you really look at the Wall Street community, we've done more than I think most of the industries to focus on helping veterans. And if you look at the board of a lot of different companies, you will have one or two veterans on there. And one of the unique things about even FINRA or the SEC, veterans are considered a minority status, which I think is wonderful. It's not just your traditional minority status, but they're considered minority status. And I think that helps us really get it. But at the same time, we're out here in Ennis, Montana right now for like a father-son kind of meeting to get these kids out here on the ranch. We're actually going to the Heroes and Horses Ranch tomorrow. And I think that's also really important to this story. It's not just about helping Clint help a lot of the veterans, but let the next generation see what they're doing, see what these guys did from 2001 to 2020 or continuing on today, and instilling in the next generation how important it is to take care of our veterans.
Very important, extremely important. And I'm going to move on to the next question, but that was very well said. Clint, in 2017, the largest living cohort of male veterans served during the Vietnam War era, while the largest living cohort of female veterans served during the post 9/11 period. Now, we know that there are nearly 2 million living women veterans in the United States, and women currently make up approximately 10% of the overall veteran population. I have to ask, do you take female applicants?
We don't currently, and that's just because of the way we're set up. So, my good friend and former teammate Micah Fink founded Heroes and Horses in and around 2013. So up until this year, we have been begging and borrowing property. We've been a gypsy camp, moving from spring to spring to set up the footprint and help these veterans. As of January of 21, we own our own ranch, and we've been developing this ranch, developing our human performance center, and we will get to a point to where we can have male and female veterans, and that is absolutely our goal, is to run beyond that 3-4 month program that we've been restricted to due to weather here in Montana, but we are building our facility out to where we can have absolutely female veterans, and we're super excited about that.
I'm super excited about that too, and congratulations on your ranch. And you definitely have to let us know when you open up the program to the ladies. Kyle, so as of 2019, the states with the highest veteran populations are statistically California, Texas, and Florida. Now, the United States Department of Veteran Affairs had outlays of about $234 billion US in 2021. By 2027, the outlays of the Department of Veterans Affairs are expected to increase to about $373 billion US. So from 2001 to 2020, federal spending on veteran care doubled from about 2.5% of the US budget to 5% of the US budget. Now, follow me. The cost of caring for post 9/11 war vets is going to reach between $2.2 and $2.5 trillion by the year 2050, most of which has not yet been paid. What do you say to this financial stat, and is the government doing enough?
Well, I think the first step is the appropriation of that capital towards a very worthy cause like veteran affairs. I think that's very important. But like in anything in politics, and as you know, I try not to get too political, but I think a lot of the times the money that's raised and appropriated doesn't always get to where it's supposed to get, to the people that are going to make sure that the best use of that capital actually gets employed. And again, you see the big charities, they all have the big names, but we know they have to go through a little bit of pork bellies and pork fat and different things to actually get there. And that's what I've been trying to do myself personally, is come out to these ranches, to come out to these farms, actually get to know people like Micah, who's here with us this week, and along with 4 or 5 other former Navy SEAL veterans, along with Clint, and to see where the money actually goes. And I think that's very important. So I think if we could streamline the capital and make sure it gets to people like Clint and Micah that know what they're doing, and getting these people off the opioids, getting them into a real life again, that's the most important things. And maybe not going to some agenda tucked in by maybe the left and into these bills would be great if it all went to the veterans.
And see, that was a great answer. And that's why we have you on these segments, because you're the business mind. And Clint, you're lucky to have Kyle. Kyle, you're lucky to have Clint. I can't thank you both enough for piping in here. Thank you so much. We're out of time, but I just wanted to extend my big welcoming to you, Clint, because we've been waiting to have you on the show. Kyle speaks very highly of you.
And Zen, if you don't mind, if you could give a quick shout out to Heroes and Horses, maybe mention their website.
Oh yeah,
because I know a lot of people would really like to help this.
Oh, absolutely. I have a whole ending for you guys.
Okay.
Clint, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Veterans are people who served in the military, U.S. Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, and Coast Guard in times of war or peace. Now, as of 2019, there were 13,000 living veterans who served all through World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Now, Veterans Day, which pays tribute to all veterans, living or dead, differs from Memorial Day, during which we pay tribute to those who lost their lives in combat. Remember that. Head to Heroes and Horses to make your donation today. They so desperately need your help. That was our Business and Buzz segment, brought to us by Revere Securities. Check out more of Kyle Wool, president at Revere Securities, at reveresecurities.com. But please head to heroesandhorses.org and make your donation today. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.